This is weird. This is weird.
Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna mute everyone and then we're gonna get started. So let's see. All right. Gotta love when they update things and confuse you, right? And of course, my cats decided now's the time to bother me. So can everyone hear me? Just a nod or a thumbs up. Okay. So this is the Getting Started Green presentation. It's going to be a fairly short one. My hope is to be about 20 minutes, maximum 30, but potential off, we can stay out there and talk if you have specific questions, anything you want to talk about. The goal tonight wasn't to be super long-winded, mainly give an introduction not only to the Indiana Green Party, but Green Party politics overall, as well as kind of give you a baseline, a foundation to go off of. Give a little updates about what is going on at the state level, and all that good stuff. But to start, welcome. My name is Cassidy. I'm the presenter. I am the vice chair of the Indiana Green Party. A few things of what we just stand for in general. These are kind of those things that have come up in the past few years, especially. But the Green Party stands out for Black Lives Matter, Dreamers, the Green New Deal, women's equality, single payer healthcare, also called Medicare for All, working people, whistleblowers, and the LGBTQIA community. And then something that I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of is like how most organizations have a set of values. However, what sets the Green Party apart is how important our values are to us and how we really try to live by them. Everything we do goes back to the values. So something I know that comes up quite often is when we're planning events, we think back to these values and we're like, does this match up with what we say we care about? And if not, how can we kind of revamp the event and basically just keep on opening it up to others and making everything super cohesive is a good way to put it. So I don't want to plan an event if it might be really good for nonviolence, but something about it goes against decentralization. So that's something as a Green Party we just want to make sure that we're looking at and changing things as needed to be a cohesive event, but also a cohesive party. With our party being in 50 states, several territories, and really just around the world, there are Green Parties around the world. It's really important that when we interpret our values that we have a good baseline to go off of. The Green Party has put out plenty of written work as well as some videos about our values and what they can be interpreted as any party as we grow. There's always been sometimes questions. Like, for example, I feel like decentralization is one that we've talked about a lot in the past few years. And it's one that, as we have discussed it, the definition has become a little bit more narrow and it's not as vague anymore. And I think that's really important that we allow for those changes to happen and that the interpretation for some values over time has not been as vague as it has in the past. So on our website, you'll actually be able to go in, see some little blurbs about them. At the end of this, if you have questions about specific ones, I know I can talk about some of them, as well as others who are here as current members of the INGP. So just a few factoids about the Green Party. So in 2016, the Green Party was actually on the ballot in 45 states, including the District of Columbia. And 3 other states actually counted the write-in votes for Jill Stein and Jammu Baraka. So really 48 states, there is some form of ballot access or various forms of it, which we're always striving to be at the full 50 and the territories as well. Along with the state Green parties, there's actually caucuses, which are based primarily on identity. However, the Indiana Green Party does have one known as the Cannabis Caucus, and it's the first of its kind in the United States, led by some of our phenomenal volunteers. So if you're at all interested, I know they're also meeting tonight. So I'm sure that if you're interested, we can get you kind of linked up for maybe next month as well. But we have the Latinx Caucus, the Lavender Greens, which is our representative for LGBT community. We have one of those also in the state. The Youth Caucus, I am a member of that at the national level, and I am part of their steering committee. We have the Black Caucus and the Women's Caucus as well. I'm also part of the Women's and the Lavender Greens, both at the national level. So if you ever have any questions, I'm sure if I don't have the answer, I can find someone that does. And there's over 100 Green parties around the world. So I was recently reading an article about the Green Party in Japan and how we have very similar platforms. There's a few things that are a little different just because, the US is not Japan. So some things aren't going to match up perfectly for what works for them, doesn't work for us, and vice versa. But it's fascinating to be able to see that we have sister organizations around the world who are all working to push for environmental and social justice, nonviolence, and democracy. The Green Party has demanded. I'm having issues. Don't you just love that? There you go. The Green Party has demanded full LGBT rights and has called for legalization of marijuana, not only in various states, but also nationally in the US, an end to the war on drugs, and oppose the Iraq war from the beginning, long before any major party politician was pushing those positions because they had decided that they were safe positions. So the idea of the Green Party actually started in 1984 in May, when progressive politics in the United States was basically fighting for survival at that time. There was a Green Movement Committee who was kind of their back. They wanted a progressive left organization that had a very clear stance about the environment as well as social justice, peace and nonviolence, and then the ability to be a local and regional self-management model with grassroots democracy principles. So decentralization kind of goes back to that local and regional self-management. We don't have a national that's telling Indiana what we have to do. Of course, we want to be side by side and be aligned with them, but they're not saying you have to do this event, which I think is a really respectable aspect of our organization. During 1984, in that summer, the founding meeting of the U.S. Greens took place in St. Paul, Minnesota. And this is a wonderful video we're going to watch. It was created by a member of the Indiana Green Party who's here today, about the 4 pillars of the Green Party. Thanks, Pluto. I'm going to try playing it. I don't know how it's going to sound through the speakers. So if I could get a thumbs up when it starts playing that you all can hear it correctly, that'd be great.
The Indiana Green Party presents the 4 pillars of the Green Party. In general, the 4 pillars define the Green Party as a political movement that interrelates its philosophy from 4 different social movements. The environmental movement, the labor movement, the civil rights movement,
The sound is dropping in and out.
the 4
Is anyone else having that issue, or is it just Pluto?
Four pillars of the green.
I'm putting on subtitle captions, so apologies. I'm not sure if it's working for everybody, but at least then we can play it and you can still read the subtitles.
Green Party. In general, the four pillars define the Green Party as a political movement that interrelates its philosophy from four different social movements. The environmental movement. The labor movement. The civil rights movement. The peace movement. The Green Party of the United States follows the ideals of green politics, which are based on the four pillars, namely ecological wisdom, social justice, grassroots democracy, and nonviolence. The Green Party is an international political party which was born out of an environmental protest in Australia in March 1972. When 17 people convened in Augusta, Maine, on January 8, 1984 to organize the Maine Green Party, the first green state-level political party in the United States. The seeds of the U.S. Green Party was sown. The Indiana Green Party was originally founded in 2000, became accredited with the U.S. Green Party in 2016. Ecology, nonviolence, social justice, participatory democracy, grassroots democracy, anti-war, anti-racism, women's rights, LGBTQIA, Two-Spirit Plus rights, and ecosocialism are all promoted by the Green Party. The Green Party is considered left-wing on the political spectrum. Are you concerned about the future? Let's build a greener, smarter, saner future together with the Indiana Green Party. The Indiana Green Party presents.
All right. Thanks for that, Pluto. I like the video. It's quite fun, I would say. So as I said in the video, everything we do is based on those four pillars: democracy, ecological wisdom, nonviolence, and social justice. As a volunteer, member, believer in the Green Party, I think we all have our own kind of personal favorites or reasons why we do what we do. What originally brought me to the Green Party had to do with the ecological wisdom pillar, but now I stay and I continue to work with the Green Party because my baser belief in democracy and social justice. It's not that I don't love nonviolence, it's just, part of it, but I prefer and I focus on democracy and social justice issues. Therefore, they come up the most for me. So something else that we wanted to bring up after our last presentation, there was a few questions about ecosocialism, aka the green alternative, and what that means, because there's a lot of confusion of what people are hear the Green Party and hear kind of what I would call like inciting words and beliefs of what they mean. So I really appreciate that one of my colleagues at the youth caucus on a national level put together a presentation and kind of dove into what it actually all means. And this is a slide that I pulled directly from them. But so instead, we will build an economy based on large-scale green public works, municipalization, and workplace and community democracy. Production is best for the people and the planet when democratically owned and operated by those who do the work and those most affected by the production decisions. So resources should be distributed as broadly and equitably as possible. Projects should be managed at the most local level that is practical. And we do not advocate for an economic system based on private property. The long-term goal is to end class conflict by ending classes. Obviously, that's occur in America, that it's far off. And the most basic goal of the organization really is to get our voice into the local governments, from everything to your local trustee of your city, county level, township even, all the way up to the United States Congress and hopefully the president one day. All of those would do well with some green perspective and representation. So then I'm going to end my sharing. Especially if I can. Okay. And now that is the presentation itself. We're going to open the floor up for any questions. I know Pluto probably would like to speak a few words about his perspective and maybe a little bit more about his video that he worked hard on. But is there anybody that would like to say anything or speak, ask questions?
Don't all speak up at once. I saw before that I believe John had his hand up with a question early on. No, Charles. Charles isn't here anymore. Okay.
No, Charles must have lost some connection.
Ah, okay. Hey, John. That was a quick flash on screen. Oops,
Hey.
let me flash on screen too. There I am. Hey.
I didn't have a question, but I was just letting you know it wasn't me.
Well, it's great to meet you. What area are you in?
I'm actually from Louisiana, but I came to see what y'all were doing because we've got to hold some meetings. I'm co-chair, acting co-chair right now, but secretary of the Louisiana Green Party. And I know
What
Cassidy
area of
from
Louisiana?
Baton Rouge.
Okay, I used to live